On this very strange episode of DC On Screen, we talk about the Shazam trailer, Will Smith's Deadshot departure, his replacement, and the end of an era for the CW. Right after this.
The Sonic 2 for $7 deal lets you choose from the Sonic Cheeseburger, Chicken Sandwich, or Footlong Chili Cheese Coney. Any two for $7. So you can mix and match a deliciously melty Sonic Cheeseburger and a crispy chicken sandwich with the perfect amount of pickles. Or you can pair that brioche-topped chicken sandwich with the Footlong Chili Cheese Coney you've been craving. Either way, you'll get two mouth-watering Sonic items for one great price. It might be the greatest pairing since cherry and limeade. Sonic 2 for $7 deal. Tax not included. See menu for details. Limited time only at participating Sonic drive-ins.
You think of Earth as a singular planet. In fact, it is anything but. For this is a story not of a universe, but a multiverse, where universes and planets, such as Earth, were replicated and mirrored across a vibrating, infinite plane. Some barely different from the next. Others drastically so.
This is DC On Screen. Every week, Dave and Jason talk about the multiverse of DC properties on film and television. But be warned, if it's been officially released, you can expect they'll spoil it.
Welcome into episode 532 of DC On Screen. I am your host, David C. Robertson, and this, the man with a kitchen conundrum, Jason Goss.
It's a nightmare over here.
That's what it sounded like on the Patreon.
It was bad. It was bad.
Poor guy.
Stuff's better now than before.
Oh, good.
So, we're getting there.
So, before we begin, a couple of things. You're not here or you're only here, really, for our review of the Shazam trailer. Because, kitchen conundrum.
Correct.
And we do have a guest host coming in when Jason leaves. Also, we would like to remind you guys that we are on Patreon. $5 a month gets you an on-air thank you and access to the exclusive Patreon feed that features Jason's pull list, Marvel reviews, B-roll, and other extra content. This week on the Patreon, you dropped a Jason's pull list episode and reviewed the Flash Batman crossover, The Price, spanning Batman 64 and 65 and the Flash 64 and 65. I listened to it. I don't read those comics. I listened to it. I thought it was fantastic.
No, thanks. I assume you mean the book.
Yeah, absolutely. The show was and
you did correctly point out I've got to list what I'm going to spoil at the beginning of the episode.
Right. I thought that was important.
So that will be added. That'll be added to the format.
And I dropped a review of Ant-Man and the Wasp. I finally got around to that. I did an episode with my wife Bethany, and we did that in preparation for Captain Marvel, which we'll probably see on Sunday. So both of those offerings have gotten some nice comments from our patrons, which, by the way, we do have a new patron this week, Joshua R. Meat. Thank you so much, man.
Hello and thank you.
And the Be-Alm-End-Alm to boot.
Yes.
So if you want to be a patron, patreon.com/DC On Screen. All right, man. You want to get into this Shazam trailer?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to essentially just kind of float around our episode, aren't I?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I dig it. This will be fun.
I did something really stupid just now.
What's that?
I deleted the thing. Never mind. It'll be fine.
Good.
I'm gonna cut this out.
Good background.
All right. The Shazam trailer.
Two pros at work.
I know.
Go ahead. All right.
The Shazam trailer.
Yes.
I continue to love the shot. Like, a lot of this is just stuff we've already seen before. I continue to love the shot of Billy running off of that roof and getting hit by the lightning.
Oh, God. Yeah, it's one of the best CBM shots ever for me. I mean, I would love the movie to live up to that moment, and I hope the best, and I have no reason to think it might not. But that shot alone, man, that is glorious. Just glorious.
I loved the M&M inclusion. I love Captain Sparkle Fingers.
Captain Sparkle Fingers. That's pretty. Sparkle Fingers. Sparkle Fingers. Sparkle Fingers. Yeah, the both of those made me pretty happy.
Savannah's a badass, or Savannah. Savannah, and
they went with the badass version instead of tweaky little science lab guy.
And dude, I love the Batman toys. I love all the Justice League toys, everything in that toy store. It's just fantastic. Oh, yeah. Batman, get him, Batman.
I mean, it sure sounds like Kevin Conroy too. Is that confirmed?
I don't think it was. No,
it sounds like him.
Yeah, that Batman toy is a real thing, and it does say I'm Batman. I've played with that thing in a Toys R Us.
That's pretty great.
Oh, it's fantastic.
You think it's one of the people that actually voiced him, though? Or, I mean, it did sound like Kevin Conroy, but it's like 2 seconds. It could also be the, was it Greenwood?
I didn't think it sounded like anyone specifically.
They just brought in a guy to say, I'm Batman.
I mean, I think the toy actually says that, if I remember correctly. You press.
Oh no, I mean the toy. Like when they were manufacturing the toy, they just brought in a guy. We got 2 words for you. Here's your entire gig. Here.
Yeah, I don't think it was like a person who actually does it. I might be wrong.
It's probably much cheaper to just pay a dude with a deep voice to come in and say, I'm Batman.
Probably, yeah.
Than licensing something from Warner Brothers. Fuck that noise.
So anyway,
carry on.
Yeah. I love the how old are you, basically 15-bit.
Mm-hmm. Good.
We've seen that before in TV spots.
Yeah.
Dude, did you see that? Yeah, you electrocuted a bus and nearly killed all these people. And then I caught it.
Yeah. That was pretty good. The bit that actually made me laugh the most, it was probably when he tries to jump through the building.
Oh, he tries to leap over.
He tries to jump over the building, and just jumps into an office floor and disturbs the day pretty mightily. Yeah, I enjoyed that. Even though the little focus pull on the camera makes me laugh a little bit. It's just a funny moment.
Yeah, it's great. Well, you have anything else on this trailer?
Other than I'm looking forward to it. Some great shots. Looks funny. Don't think that's going to take away from anything. No, man. Sounds great. Bring it on.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. I'm happy that they haven't spoiled anything major.
That is big for me. The only thing that I feel like we know about the climax of the movie is those two are going to throw down, and that it looks like Savannah might have kind of the same powers.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he shows off the electric skills. He can fly. He's got some strength.
Mm-hmm. It does. Yeah, it looks like he was. I mean, we in previous TV spots and stuff, we've seen him walking in as a child.
Mm-hmm.
Like he was apparently considered at some point. So I assume he has some of those powers, or has been stripped of them and gotten them artificially somehow.
I assume the latter, personally.
Yeah.
And he does, it's clear he knows to ask him, how old are you? So he knows about some of the mythology that's happening there.
Oh, yeah. Oh, he's familiar with the process.
Yeah, yes. Not his first time.
So I'm digging it. I'm.
It's going to be great. What is the opening? Mid-April?
April 5th.
April 5th. Oh, early April? That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, from a month and now we'll have seen this thing.
Have you seen the little TV spot where his foster sister's like finds out? He's like, how good could she keep a secret? How well could she keep a secret? And she's like, I don't. I'm moderately. And then Freddy's like, no, she can't. Not at all. No.
Yeah, no, I have not seen that, but that feels right.
It is fantastic. Right. Everything I'm seeing about this movie looks fun as hell to me.
Looks delightful. It's been a journey just following Sandberg on Twitter.
Oh yeah.
That process alone has been delightful. I expect this film will pay off some of that too.
Well, I'm excited about it. Good stuff. I don't want you to go.
I'll be back.
I know. Well, go do kitchen things and eat and go to sleep and all those things that you have to do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'm going to bathe with a cold towel and try to warm up with a hot towel.
All right.
Yeah, fun stuff.
It's a weird way to describe it, but all right.
Yeah. Gotta love that transition time where you had to pull out the original water heater, but you can't put the new one in yet.
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple nights of basically living in a campground that you pay way too much for.
That's depressing.
Good stuff there. Good stuff.
All right. Well, as we bid Jason adieu, we bring in and say hello to our next co-host for the evening, Matt Carroll, my co-host of the Star Trek Universe podcast and of the Marvel Cinematic Universe podcast.
Don't play that joke on these people. This is Jason.
Right.
Clearly Jason.
Say a Jason thing.
That would be a fine thing.
He does say that, doesn't he?
Oh, yeah.
All right, man. Well, I appreciate you coming in and finishing up what Jason started.
Yeah, man. Well, thanks for having me on the show, man. Appreciate y'all having me. Let's talk some DC news. I don't know what's been going on. I'm really behind on my DC news.
Oh, it's okay.
Update me, Dave. Update me.
Well, first of all, I wanted to see, like, me and Jason, we just talked about the Shazam trailer. What did you think of the Shazam trailer?
I thought it was cool. Pretty cool. Because I'm just an asshole who thinks about the bad thing first. I really hated the bus thing.
How come?
At the end. We didn't see what happened exactly, but it appears that bus went face first and he caught it, which, I don't know. It just looks like that would still kill everyone on the bus.
I don't think it would kill everyone.
Yeah, we'll have to see once it gets here. Maybe he like grabs it and lowers it to the ground, but the way that, because they specifically did not show the bus actually fall.
Right.
See, I'm sorry, just being an asshole. I do think the trailer looks fun though. I think Shazam in general, the movie looks fun.
Okay.
I really liked the overall mood of the thing. It reminds me of Deadpool a little bit, of all things. In that it seems like they're going to take the superhero part of it seriously while being a character that's sort of ridiculous, and I think that's kind of fun.
Yeah.
Obviously not as rated R as a Deadpool, but
obviously
similar in tone to me.
Only I think in the funny way, in a comedic way, but I think there's going to be a lot less fourth wall humor at the very least.
Oh yeah, no, I don't expect that. I just meant in purely tone, the mix of comedy and comedy while taking the plot seriously. And sort of the funniness of just having a character like Shazam. The fact that he's a child trapped in a man's body. That's funny stuff.
Right. I like the idea of it. I like the escapism. I like the wish fulfillment of the idea a lot more than I've ever liked Shazam in the comics, by the way, too. Like, I like the idea of him a lot more than I've ever liked the books.
Right.
But,
like the execution. I think it might be tailor-made for the screen. I mean, this is basically Big, you know?
And, they've said that numerous times, too.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And Big is a great movie, and this is basically that. It's kind of fun to put Big in a superhero universe, and with all of the context that it is a classic story and a classic character. It's kind of cool.
Yeah. So, apparently it is tracking to make $48 million opening weekend, according to Box Office Pro, anyway.
That's good. That's good on the DC side, right?
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Okay, good.
It's saying that it should make 144 million worldwide, which they tracked Aquaman for making 60 million.
And it did way better.
And it did do better than that. This is just opening weekend.
Sure.
And
I think this will do better too. I just think the trailers have been good. It's a different take on superheroes. If you don't know, if you don't know it's in the DC universe, you don't have to know that to want to see this movie. And I think that's going to open them to a lot of people who are just out to see a movie who don't feel like they have to know anything about the canon or the past movies. I liked in this trailer the little the appearance of Batman.
Yeah, from the toy store.
Yeah, it's great. That's really great.
I like the idea. This is a concept that the first time I ever saw this concept was in Batman the Animated Series, where like there are street vendors and stuff like selling Batman merchandise.
Yeah.
And I like the idea that, like, you know, the public at large is watching the Justice League fighting parademons and whatnot, and they're privy to all the Man of Steel and all that from a faraway perspective, to the point where they've just become folk heroes that are like in toy stores now. I like that idea a lot. Yeah,
no, I love that. They did something similar on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. The very first episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, they did.
Is Mike Peterson being played by, oh gosh, what's his name from... I
couldn't remember his name the other day either.
His name's Gunn in Angel. Anyway.
August something? I don't know.
Yeah, I can't remember. Anyway. Yeah, the very first episode, the very first thing you see is a kid looking in on a shop window of the Avengers. And I was like, it's just nice because it's kind of like the way the TV relates to the movies as well. It's like, I don't know. It's just we're being affected by all of this stuff.
Yeah.
It's cool.
But yeah, so I think even if they did make the 48 million domestically in the opening weekend, Shazam from what we know is it was produced for way less money than Aquaman was, so it's still gonna probably make his money pretty quickly.
Great.
Speaking of Aquaman, James Wan has confirmed that there's no director's cut, so, we've heard that before, but since Aquaman made all the damn money in the world, I think we can probably trust it here. Because Aquaman just passed Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one, domestically.
Wow.
They're at $333 million. $333.7 million. That is 1,141,900,148 worldwide. So Aquaman's still just like scraping in money. It comes out like 2 or 3 weeks, something like that, something crazy like that. I think we said it last week. What day it was? I didn't put it here in these notes because I'm a piece of shit. So yeah, James Wan did come out and say that he is retaining the IMAX aspect ratio, meaning it will open up top and bottom of frame during the big visuals on home video.
Huh. Cool. That is really cool, actually.
Did you see Aquaman? Did you like that?
Yeah. We can get into Aquaman if you want. I did. I didn't think it was like amazing, but I did like it a lot. I think it's a good flick. It's a good flick. I really enjoyed parts of it. I thought it was, it's them finally letting a little fun into their movie. Like, it seems like the fun was in their movie from the beginning. This has obviously been, I'm sure, well-trodden ground over here on DC On Screen. I'm sure you guys have people talking about this all the time, but DC their first few movies were pretty dire, and then it seems like they tried to take the fun and inject it in with Suicide Squad, but it seemed so, half-hearted and half-done and messed with by the studio. This seemed like it was at least somebody's vision.
Yeah.
And I don't know how can I get spoilery or?
Yeah.
All right. That's right. Yeah, the beginning of your show says, if it's been on the screen, you can expect we'll spoil it. So the final fight scene was amazing, and I loved him riding in on the Kraken or whatever.
Yeah, that was the Carathian.
Yeah, that's so good. Mm-hmm. So much fun. And then I really loved that the main villain did not die. I loved that the resolution was that his mother came and kind of told them to stop fighting. That was kind of great. It was just like a nice way to end it without bloodshed. Well, without their bloodshed anyway. And that was, I don't know. I liked it. I liked that it leaves those complex characters still kicking around for future films. And
absolutely. Yeah.
So overall, I thought it was a really, really good step for the DCEU.
Mm-hmm. And I liked Aquaman. I'm on record as saying I'm not really one of those guys who digs the let's quest across the globe for a MacGuffin type of storylines. But I like the chemistry between Hurd and Momoa. I blanked on his name for a minute. I almost called him Aquaman. That's why. I have a really bad problem with that. Like, I keep calling Ben Affleck Batman when we're not talking about Batman at all. Yes.
You've been doing this podcast too long. There's more. The actors are morphing into the characters to you. I thought overall it was a good flick. I don't mind a good MacGuffin chasing movie, as long as it's also got character that matters. I don't like it if that's the entire thrust of the film. And I thought, for the most part, Aquaman had some really good moments, and I really, really enjoyed the kind of bookend of the movie with his mother, and then his mother returning to his father at the end. Like, all of that was really nice. Yeah. And I loved it. I thought his father was going to die. Like, in the very beginning, I thought the mother was going to return after that whole thing. And then when he was in that horrible car accident in the middle, I was like, oh, they're going to let his father die. And then when his mother comes back, she's going to be, I don't know. I was like, this is going to be super sad. And then they like let them be together. There's really nothing. Yeah. There's no main character had a sad ending in that movie, which I thought was kind of cool.
Well, what about Black Manta? He had
Black
a pretty
Manta,
sad ending, but he was a piece of shit, so he deserved it.
Yeah. You have to remind me, what actually happened to him at the end? Did he die, or did he...
No, he just got roughed up and then was found by... he was found on some driftwood by Randall Park's character, Professor Shin or whatever it was.
That's right. See, to me, that's not even that sad ending for him. He's just off, going to continue villainizing.
Yeah, you're right.
So he had a sad middle.
He did have a sad middle. Like I've
had a sad middle for a long time, but I'm working on it.
Yeah, I really liked him. I think I liked him more than Orm, but I also liked that it was rough watching his dad die.
Oh yeah.
And we had that nice little build up of him giving him the knife and everything. But then you're like, oh wait, you were both awful and just murdering people left and right and deserve everything you just got.
One thing I really loved about the movie in general was the plot line that led Aquaman to be a hero. And I almost made a video about it at the time because I've been wanting to make more videos. But I think that, and I don't remember her name. What's the female protagonist's name?
Mira,
yeah. Mira was kind of the hero of the story.
Oh, yeah.
In many ways. And I really loved that. I wish they'd driven this home more because I feel like it was almost not noticed by me, at least. I had to go back and think about what made Aquaman change his mind. Like, because in the beginning of the movie, he lets that man die, which creates Black Manta. Mm-hmm. And then in the middle of the movie, Black Manta comes back and he's like, it's my fault. I should have saved his father. I should have done the right thing, basically. And it took me really thinking about it, because I only saw it once. Like, why did he make that change? Why did he regret that? The Aquaman from the beginning of the movie would have just killed Black Manta or tried to and not had regrets, you know? But the reason that change happens is because when his father almost dies, Mira saves him. Mm-hmm. And he says, you saved him. You had no reason to save him. Like, why did you do that? You know, you just saved a man you didn't know. And that instills that ethic in him. And he starts, from that point on, he starts doing the right thing, trying to do the right thing by all people, not just his own family, which I thought was a really cool turn. And I almost wish they had driven it home a little better because I didn't catch that plot line while watching the movie. I had to think about that plot line to really dig in on it. I don't know.
And I think that's just where I want it. Like, I don't want any more than that. I don't want them to drive anything else home.
There are ways to drive it home without being cheesy, and I think that sometimes the MCU does it well with things like Captain America could be the cheesiest character. He says things that could be the cheesiest, but they've designed it in such a way that he's the character that's allowed to say the cheesy thing. And sometimes you have to, from the beginning, design certain elements of a story to be able to convey the sort of cheesy message. And I thought that I liked that plot line was there, and I kind of wish it had driven it home. It could have really made me emotional in that moment where he realizes that and makes the change. I just didn't realize he was even making that change till way later in the movie, you know?
Yeah, I guess
that's just me.
Yeah. I kind of saw it all along. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I hear you. I didn't, and that could just be my own fault. But I do think that they could have done something a little, just something little, to drive home the fact that why he changed his mind, why he was different now. I don't know. Mm-hmm. It just didn't resonate with me the first time I watched it. Well, the only time I watched it. It wasn't until I was listening to it, I was like, oh, or thinking about it. I was like, oh, that's why he did that.
Right.
And I really liked that he did it. I liked that change.
Yeah. So we're going to get an Aquaman 2. They said it won't be for another 4 years, which it doesn't surprise me because it takes a long time. For one thing, it takes a long time to get those effects right because they had to do a lot of effects work.
Yes.
For that movie. Peter Safran, the producer, was on the Hollywood, talking to the Hollywood Reporter, and they were asked why 4 years, why is it going to take that long? And he says, Hamada, myself, and James Wan have always shared the same philosophy, which is you want to do it right. You don't want to do it fast. You just want to do it right. And in intimated that we might be seeing the Trench spinoff before we see Aquaman 2. He says, we always, even from the early concept art days, loved the idea of a Trench movie. Then when the audiences embraced it in the movie itself the way they did, particularly that ant farm shot where the camera follows the Trench following Arthur and Mira down into the deep, we just knew that we had something very special there. And we knew that we knew what that movie should be. And consequently, I suspect that that's one that will come out significantly before Aquaman 2. Which, I think that's great. I think they should totally flesh out the Aquaverse and play with tone, play with genre, and a horror Trench movie. I was hoping for a little more, being that it was James Wan directing Aquaman, I was hoping that we were going to get a little more of the horror aspect in Aquaman with him dealing with a Trench. But yeah, I'm down for this movie.
Yeah, I didn't know anything about that, so that is very cool.
Oh yeah, you are behind.
Oh yeah, man, very.
Yeah, it's a spinoff that's not going to have anything to. It's not going to feature the main characters from Aquaman. It's going to be its own separate thing, but within the same universe. They're just looking at fleshing out the Aquaman universe, sort of like what James Wan did in the what is it? The Conjuring? Is that what it was?
Yeah. I think so.
Yeah, he's like, hey, check out that doll over here. Annabelle creation.
Right.
Here's a movie with a nun.
I love a good cinematic universe.
Yeah.
Of all kinds.
Yep. And over on Twitter, the Aquaverse is trying to say that the sequel to Aquaman is going to feature the Others, who were a bunch of... they were basically a bunch of humans that Arthur took to... what is it called? The Tomb of the First King.
Oh, yes.
He took them to the Tomb of the First King and gave them Atlantean relics to guard / use as bait with Black Manta. And they basically became a group of superheroes called the Others that Aquaman led. And the Aquaverse account is saying that the Others are going to be a part of Aquaman 2. And basically they're using their clout from saying that the Trench and Black Manta and Orm were going to be in the first Aquaman way back as proof that this is going to be true. This is just rumor, though. I think it would be really cool if we got the Others, though, honestly.
Cool. I don't know anything about them, so that's sounds good to me.
Well, I mean, it would just be a way for... they're relatively new, but it would be a way for them to do, basically a super team within the Aquaman universe, but without, doing a team-up movie, sort of a Suicide Squad type of thing, or a Justice League type of thing, without actually using characters that people are uppity about. Which I think is the way to go right now, because you're not going to look at, some rando from the Others and go, Christopher Reeve did them better. So I think it's a good call. Yeah, no, I think that's one of the reasons I think that Shazam is going to be so successful, is that we aren't going to be comparing it. Same way with Aquaman, I think these are good ways to tackle things. If you're not being successful with your main heroes, divert and do something different. Absolutely. I'm just liking everything that's coming out of this Hamada regime. Everything they're saying, at least, sounds really great. About giving things time. We'll get into some of that later, with the Flash, but I really like what they're driving home with on that. One thing they're not giving time to, Suicide Squad 2, which is being called the Suicide Squad. Are you aware that James Gunn is writing and directing that? Supposedly
yes.
Directing?
Yes.
So Will Smith has left the project.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Variety is saying that it's because of scheduling conflicts, because they're looking to start shooting in September in Atlanta, and Will Smith's just a busy dude. And hopefully they're going to just have a different character, and that's what Suicide Squad is. They change out criminals,
right.
And sometimes you'll have a few that are anchors. And they were looking to have Deadshot there with Harley. We know now that Margot Robbie is going to be coming back as Harley Quinn. We were hoping to have Will Smith, or most people were. I don't care either way. I feel like as long as you have Waller and you have Margot Robbie, you're good.
Sure.
So, yeah, it looks like they are talking about, Justin Kroll did come out and say that One item I forgot to add to the story in Variety. Sources say executives are now deciding whether they will recast the role or replace Deadshot with a different character from the DC universe. I hope they replace him with a different character. I don't want to see Will Smith recast. I would much rather them leave the door open for Deadshot to return either in his own movie or in a subsequent Suicide Squad sequel. But I actually liked Deadshot's character arc in the first Suicide Squad, which is one of the reasons I don't really mind him not coming back. I thought him being with his daughter at the end was a good ending for the character.
Yeah, I think it probably depends on the negotiations between, like, if they have more story to tell for Deadshot and Will Smith is like, I'm never coming back as Deadshot, I'm done.
Yeah.
And they have great story to tell, then I don't mind recasting. I really don't. I mean, like, it's happened since the very first Batman movie. You know, between Batman and Batman Returns, there's recastings.
Oh, yeah.
This happens. Between Iron Man and Iron Man 2, there's recastings.
Hulk. Let's not forget about Hulk.
Oh, for sure, Hulk. So I don't mind a recasting. I'm actually very pro recasting.
All right. So this is Dave and Jason from the future.
Hi.
Hi. Why am I saying hi to you? I just said hi to you before we started recording.
I was already here.
I know.
This is your present. And it's now our past.
Yeah.
Feel free to ignore
so
that.
Anyway, what's happening is, dear listener, you were just hearing me and Matt have a conversation about whether or not they should recast Deadshot. Well, that seems to be moot now because before we
quickly
hosted the...
Can you tell me in less than 20 words your feelings about it? Because I was not privy to this conversation.
Well, my feelings are I would have liked for them to not recast Deadshot because I would like to have the option open for Will Smith to return. And also, I feel like Will Smith's storyline wrapped up pretty well in Suicide Squad. Like, he's there with his daughter at the end.
I got you.
But, Hollywood reporter Boris Kitt is reporting that Idris Elba will be stepping into the role of Deadshot, replacing Will Smith in James Gunn's The Suicide Squad. They also say that they're saying that this happened very quickly. There was never anyone else they wanted for the role. They're also mentioning that Rick Flag is expected to return, but not Joel Kinnaman.
Interesting. And there's been some waffling about Margot Robbie.
There is waffling now about Margot Robbie. And when I'm talking to Matt, I'm just talking about like, oh yeah, they're saying she's going to be coming back. I mean, the article, the Hollywood Reporter article, or is it Variety? It might be Variety. I might be wrong. Anyway.
Our accuracy aside, I generally can take those two as pretty high in sources.
Yeah. Actually, Justin Kroll is also reporting the same shit.
Okay.
So, yeah. The thing is people are like, now they're saying that she might not be, but the Hollywood Reporter article that I read excluded her from explicitly stating that her character was going to be recasted. So I'm pretty sure she's going to be there. But they are really taking the soft out of this soft reboot, if you ask me.
Yeah. That would be one way to take it. I mean, my first thought is Idris Elba. That's possibly the most kind of boss casting in the DCEU so far.
Yeah, I mean,
that may be the biggest name they've pulled in.
I love Will Smith and The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
I love a lot of Will Smith's properties, but those two also.
I have enjoyed him in several movies. Mm-hmm. Personally, though, I kind of think this is a major come up.
I glanced around and a lot of people were saying, "Well, damn, if you're going to do it, look at that,
right?"
Wow. And I got to agree that's. I think that's about accurate. If you're going to recast this role, I don't want to pick a name and just throw somebody under the bus for no good reason. But if you just recast him with somebody equal or a C-lister or something like that,
yeah,
it would have been, all right, what are we doing here? You know, from a PR standpoint, that's a great great first foot forward.
Yeah, and throw Heimdall in there, man. Oh my gosh, and I had the same feeling when it was what's his name, Don Cheadle replacing Terrence Howard.
Oh yeah, that was another well, damn man, if you're gonna do this, that was a good call.
And I had the same feeling when it was Mark Ruffalo replacing Edward Norton. So
agreed.
You know what? Let's
onwards and upwards.
I'm good. Onwards, upwards.
Now, as far as the reboot, we still need more. I'm hoping that's the last time I have to hear you complain about that line. Years now, you cannot think about Will Smith without hearing the line "Welcome to Earth."
Oh.
And the thing I'm annoyed about the most is I like that line. I thought it was a fun part of the movie.
I know. I just think it's funny to rag on. I don't really have that big of a problem with it.
Yeah, I know. It's just a thing that's kind of like stuck in the back of your brain. You can't undo. Those don't necessarily have to be.
He doesn't even say "Welcome to Earth." That is literally me conflating his character from The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air with his character from Independence Day.
I know. You looked at that one day because you're like, well, I wonder. I have learned though, the stuff that sticks to the back of your brain like that, it doesn't necessarily have to be negative. Like every time I've been in a situation with somebody where I'll pass them something and we'll accomplish something, whatever. Just a little simple thing where you just somebody needs something, you grab it, you hand it to them really quickly, and just simple. And in my head, I'll hear teamwork, and sometimes I'll say out loud, "That's teamwork." And what I really mean is the Tenacious D line from that one album that that did really well, and I don't know anything else, where they're saying well, that's fucking teamwork. It was something about there's something in my teeth, but I don't know. Right. But it's one line in a Tenacious D song that I haven't probably listened to for a decade, and that's all I'm really referencing. And actually, I get really happy the other day. I said teamwork, and somebody said, every time I hear that word, I think of this line. I was like, you too. Oh, thank goodness.
Wow.
Doesn't have to be negative. That's my point. Whenever
I hear the word teamwork, I always think of the old adage, there's no I in team.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I automatically want to correct it because the little enclosed space in the lowercase e is called an I.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice. I kind of want to tell people but what if it was spelled TIIM?
Right. All right. We're sending these people back to the past.
Sorry. All right. So, long story short, it's a great casting. Don't know what they're up to yet. We gotta wait on more. Could be a lot of stuff. But there's so much casting stuff. We just don't know what the state of the DCEU is in general. We're in limbo on a lot of that.
Mm-hmm. I'm getting a little scared, man. This is getting freaky.
It is getting freaky, but it's getting freaky with upgrades in a way where James Gunn is an upgrade. I hate to say that. Not over David Ayer. I like David Ayer's stuff. If David Ayer wasn't going to be doing it, and you told me James Gunn's going to do a Suicide Squad, I'd tell you, hell yes. Where would you like my $20 to be applied?
Yes. Who is Michael Rooker playing? He better be playing somebody. I know a fan casted Mike Tyson for King Shark last week, but
yeah.
Can we do Michael Rooker?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that could work for me. Pretty much anywhere you apply him, we're gonna be okay. We're gonna be we're just gonna be damn okay.
Ooh, can Nathan Fillion be in it?
That'd be great. Hell, Rooker could even play if he fancied up his voice a little bit, which he can't do. I've heard him in interviews. His voice is shot.
Mm-hmm.
But he's got the frame for an old Batman. Just throw him in there.
Yeah.
Have that Greenwood guy I couldn't remember the name of come back and
Bruce Greenwood.
Bruce Greenwood. I thought it was Bruce, but I thought surely that can't be right.
Oh, it is. It'd be right.
I always remember him as the weird guy from... He wasn't weird. The guy I first met from a weird show named John from Cincinnati that no one will fucking remember.
Yeah, Bruce Greenwood, I think my first thing was Star Trek 2009.
Yeah, I could see that.
Anyway, back to the past for you folks.
Bye.
Deadline is reporting over on The Flash that they have Jonathan Francis Daly and Jonathan Goldstein, the directors of that film, are pretty much starting from scratch on the film's script. Last week we heard that Ezra Miller was talking about how the reason it's taking so long is that they were trying to get it right. Same narrative we're hearing for Aquaman 2.
Sure.
But and I think that's the way to go. Like, if they're not happy with it, and of course, Ezra Miller was talking about the multiverse and all sorts of deep-seated DC canon stuff. So, as long as he keeps sprinkling stuff like that in, I'll follow him. I'll be like, all right, sure. But yeah, so Deadline's saying that Daly and Goldstein are set to write and direct, and that implies that they're going to be starting from scratch, as opposed to working on the Joby Harold script that's already been circulating. I really do. I want The Flash to be great. I want it to be a great movie, and I do have a fair amount of faith in John Francis Daly and Jonathan Goldstein. They were co-screenwriters on Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Oh yeah, that's right.
They worked on Horrible Bosses 2. That alone is enough. Oh, and also Horrible Bosses. I forgot about that one.
Yeah, those are good flicks.
Yeah, so I'm down. I think that they're in a position to make The Flash something really good.
Awesome.
Now Zack Snyder has announced that he is going to be doing an event, a 3-day event at the Art Center. I'll put a link in the show notes, but he's doing a thing called the Director's Cuts, and it's going to be March 22nd through March 24th, and there's going to be a screening each night of a Snyder film and a special Q&A with him and members of the cast and crew and special guests. Dawn of the Dead Director's Cut is at 6 p.m. on the 22nd. On the 23rd is Watchmen Director's Cut at 4 p.m. And on March 24th at 4 p.m. is Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice, the Ultimate Edition. And a lot of people are hoping that he announces the Snyder Cut. Clay Enos seems to not be, that's the photographer for Justice League, seems to not think that's going to be happening. So
yeah, I feel like this is a weird marketing gimmick to get his other movies watched. Because, like, the entire internet is on fire for 2 years with, we want the Snyder Cut. And he's like, hey, I got lots of Snyder Cut for you.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I don't think so. I think this is just a fan thing that he's just doing. It's like, I can't remember how much it was. Let me see. I'll look it up. Oh,
yeah, I don't think he's making a ton of money off of it. I just think that's kind of a weird thing. Yeah, it's crazy that Dawn of the Dead was Zack Snyder directing, and James Gunn wrote the screenplay.
Absolutely, it was, yeah.
Which, when I met James Gunn, I was just in line. I told him some of his movies that I really liked, and I mentioned Dawn of the Dead being one that I really liked, and he looked at me funny. And I think he was like, I didn't direct that though, because now he's such a director guy. I don't know. I was right after Guardians. I got to meet him and I told him I really liked Dawn of the Dead, all the way back to Dawn of the Dead, and he looked at me confused. I was like, you wrote that? It made me I was like, you did write that, right? It said so on IMDb.
Yeah. So that's the Art Center in Pasadena, and let's see, what was it? I'm looking for the price. I'm not going because I can't afford it. It's over $200.
Yeah, crazy.
But oh yeah, there it is. Let's see, $275 for a general admission all weekend pass. But that's not really bad to do a 3-day event where you get to do a Q&A with Zack Snyder and different people involved in the production and cast and crew and stuff.
Maybe.
I mean, if you're that big of a Snyder fan, that's
right. Yeah, for sure. If you're a big enough Snyder fan, for sure. But I just think about like cons, like a whatever Comic-Con or whatever. That's like not that much cheaper than that, and those you get like to see a lot of things and experience a lot of things and talk to a lot of different directors and writers and stars. So from a price standpoint, I don't know that it's a value proposition that I'm interested in.
I think this feels more intimate. I think I would rather do this than go to a con.
Yeah, I hear you.
Personally.
I hear you. I know you're not a big con guy though.
I'm not. Hey, Future Dave and Future Jason back. Some stuff happened.
Hello again.
So I don't know what it is about tonight that like every damn thing is happening,
dude.
But
you know how things are. Wednesday night. That is the action night.
Sometimes, yeah.
That is internationally known as the day when things happen.
Stephen Amell, he said something on Twitter, And then he put up a Facebook Live. I'll put up a link to the Facebook Live in the show notes at dconscreen.com. He just released a very, very tearful goodbye to fans because while Arrow is renewed for an 8th season, it will be a 10-episode season. And that will be it.
And we're out.
We are out. And apparently he went to Greg Berlanti, according to his Facebook Live, he went to Greg Berlanti in season 6 and wanted to end it with that. With like season 7. And like they wound up coming to an agreement to do an 8th season. I think that's probably why they're like, that may have been why they actually like moved up Crisis on Infinite Earths, because, you know, they were talking about doing that further down the line. And now they've constructed a whole story where that's moving a few years up.
Right.
In the timeline of the show. So my personal opinion, I think Ollie will die in the final episode of Crisis on Infinite Earths. I think that that episode will have to be an Arrow episode because you can't kill Ollie on the Flash. That's messed up.
That would be messed up.
I think they will have 1 or 2 episodes left to wrap things up for the other characters and to establish the legacy, most likely of Emiko Queen carrying on in his place. That's my own personal opinion. I do think it would be cool.
Now, that was the opinion you espoused last week, or a week before, I can't remember. I've been in her house for a week. I've lost brain cells. I don't freaking know. But
I just didn't think that it would be like
the opinion
the end of the show.
You expressed was you thought what they were maybe going to do was kind of like kill him, because it was leaning very heavy into kill him in the last crossover. Overwhelming odds are that, you know, he was the one who has to go to make that deal and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So overwhelming odds, he goes. And you were saying, I think it was you that said maybe they just bring it back for a short season, they kill him off, and that's the last that we see.
That would be amazing if I said that.
I think you did.
As you know, I don't remember what I said.
I don't either. I mean, bits and pieces, sure, but sometimes we do a couple hours and I forget. But this feels familiar. I feel like we've said that somewhere in there. Mm-hmm. And this is a huge step in the right direction of that being a plausible thing that happens.
Yeah, and you know, and I was just talking to, like, as soon as it broke, I was talking to Brent. Like, well, not as soon as, it was like it was like 30 minutes after it broke.
Yeah,
I was messaging Brent from Fans Without Borders. I was like, dude. And I was talking to him. I was like, do you think, because this would be cool to me too, I don't think they're going to do this, but I was asking him, do you think they would push back the Crisis on Infinite Earths so that the final episode of Arrow, like maybe they wrap everything up in flash forwards leading up to Crisis, and then the final episode of Arrow is the final episode of Crisis, and like this huge universe that Arrow has spawned, how poetic would that be? For like right before the universe gets completely rewritten or largely rewritten.
I mean, I think they've already expressed that it's going to be a different atmosphere when they're done.
Yeah, the final episode of Arrow would be the rewriting of the multiverse.
It would be fitting. Now, as far as airing dates and times are concerned, fuck that. That's already out the door.
Oh yeah, they move that around.
Yeah, they bounce it wherever they feel like they want to, and it hasn't really diminished the ratings too far. And I for sure don't think it's diminished the streaming numbers.
No,
the people who follow it, follow it within that 7-day time frame, regardless of when it actually airs.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't think there's any reason that's not a thing they can do. And I do agree with your prediction for sure that they're going to actually end it with the Arrow episode, and I think he's going to be a huge part of the crossover, or at least he's going to finish up the crossover in a huge way.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, those are softball predictions, but still, they're the most likely thing. Now here's another prediction.
Okay.
I don't think this is the last time we'll hear about a shortened season.
Probably not.
I would bet you we hear about another shortened season or another shortened run coming up.
Yeah. Oh, I think Legends of Tomorrow is definitely done now.
That's definitely it, yeah. And that might possibly pair with the Constantine rumors that we've been hearing.
Maybe. I'll tell you this, though.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of his Facebook Live, Stephen Amell says, I don't think that, and I'm paraphrasing here because like an idiot, I erased my notes. Stephen Amell said, I have a feeling that though I'm leaving or though I might be gone, or what was it? though I'm done, I won't necessarily be gone. If you watch the Arrowverse, then you know what I mean, or you understand, something like that. So people always leave or die, and then they come back in some iteration for guest stints.
Yeah.
But honestly, I think the dude just wants to go and be with his family and kind of, like he talked about in the Facebook Live. He talked about like dropping off the face of the earth for 2 months, and then like coming back and like moving on with his career, seeing what else the world has in store for him.
He wants to do what a lot of the Warner Brothers television shows actors want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Is, man, Vancouver's it's a nice city, and I've really genuinely never heard any of the people that operate out of there say anything bad about the city. They enjoy it, but it's a grueling schedule, and it's not like, in a way, if all you were doing was working that job, you kind of work a few months and you're off for like a good portion of the year, assuming that's what you want to do with yourself. And there's some value to that. But again, when you're him, you've got a kid, you got a family. Yeah, I think it's really wearing on him at this point. And there's been a lot of hints from Amel that it was wearing on him, and he just wanted a more regular schedule where he could see his kid grow up.
Yep.
So I'm happy for him, because I do think this is what he wanted. I did. By the way, did you see the rest of the tweets? Like the rest of the crew was tweeting stuff. They're all largely, well, not even largely, 100%. The crew was just kind of grateful for the time and all that. It was all very positive, very positive vibe.
I saw a lot of it, and I was just like, I'm not reporting on that because it's just overwhelming, and it's all people saying nice things. So that's awesome, but it'd be
10 minutes of you just reading people's tweets about how grateful they were for the experience and stuff, and that's all well and good and great words, and I've every reason to believe they were honest about it. But yeah, it would just be us reading tweets for a few minutes.
And I would be surprised if most of the crew didn't get dispersed throughout other shows that were coming up.
It might.
I mean,
I think there's something. There is sea change in the future for the CW, like DC TV.
Mm-hmm.
Not just a couple tweaks. There's sea change, I think. That's my prediction there.
Yeah. But, I say that, though, as, someone who has heard the stories and from, Tom Welling and Michael Rosenbaum, and talking about, like, oh, all these people are still here, and they're talking to Stephen Amell, like, oh, you know him? Oh, yeah, he's still there. Okay. So I think they just get dispersed to other CW shows, honestly. I don't think most of them are let go.
Oh, see, no, the crew, I think there's just always something going on up there. They've got a steady job.
Mm-hmm.
But the actors, I thought that's what you were talking about, getting dispersed. And I think there will be some of that.
Yeah, I think we could see somebody leave and show up on another show.
Yeah.
Or the show end and someone else. Yeah.
And some of it, there's a lot to look forward to. Like, let's say Legends does survive for reasons that I don't understand. Because
they could.
They could. They've survived so far, and they've always been the one where I'm like, man, you've got the worst ratings of any of them. Like, you have, even for CW, kind of low ratings. Why are you still here? And then you look up and they're renewed again. But, and at times I've thought, I go back and forth. At times I didn't want that. At times I did. Whatever.
Mm-hmm.
The show is, it's Legends, man. It's a weird thing. But man, I would love to see like Curtis pop up over there.
See,
a lot of fun.
I don't know. I think it would be fun to see, Rory go back to Flash.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Be nice to see. Hell, bring Ray over. Especially if the rumors that Kavanaugh might be leaving the Flash. True. We've heard rumors of that.
True. I mean, Felicity could do a lot of damage with the Flash resources.
Mm-hmm. And we've heard that Carlos Valdez is taking off.
We have heard
he's leaving. So, if
I think he wants to get back to music.
Yeah, and if we suddenly don't have the Los or Tom Cavanaugh, which
that one hurts.
God, it hurts to even say.
Yeah, that one hurts. I don't care if it's another show. I just need Tom Cavanaugh in my life. And that doesn't have to be a DC show. I'll pick up another show in my rotation if he's in it.
Mm-hmm.
I've proven this time and time again. I watched every episode of Trust Me. No one knows what that is. Some show that aired on TNT where he was an ad exec with the dude from Will and Grace.
All right. Yeah, gosh, man. I have to admit, if like Felicity suddenly shows up on The Flash taking the place of Cisco and
Kavanaugh, frankly.
Or Kavanaugh. And then we have, Ray show up on The Flash and just staying there. It will feel a little bit like when like the Andy Griffith Show went to color and Barney wasn't there, and suddenly like Goober is like the Goober, Goober and friggin' Dodson or whatever his name was, Howard Sprague were the county clerk. Like where have you guys been all these years? Well, Goober was around, but he wasn't a major player.
That was a side bit every 5 or 6 episodes for a while.
And then when you get to like the later seasons, where you have like Emmett take over for Floyd, that's where you're gonna get like Mick Rory show up. Like, I'm gonna hang in at Star Labs. Like, why?
It started to get a bit weird there.
Yeah, it might get a little weird, but I'm down for it. We'll see what happens. I know way too much about the Andy Griffith Show.
It's one of your private pleasures.
It's not that private. I'm pretty open about it. Really.
You are open about it.
I have T-shirts with Barney and Andy on it.
I don't think you care.
No, it's not guilty at all. That show is fantastic. For 5 years. Everything after that is highly debatable.
It's just it's not even a shit show. It's just
no. It's just very standard, which is sad in its own way.
Just did not have the. It got weird. That's all. I remember the reruns. I remember, and I agree. It got weird.
Well, they moved some of their best writers off to like different properties.
That's a problem.
Harvey Bullock went over to Gomer Pyle, and stuff happened.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Anyway, back to the past, I guess. Are you good?
Yeah, I think this isn't necessarily a bad thing.
It's not necessarily a bad thing. No,
I mean it's odd. A lot of people are going to lose a property they very much love, being what it is. But I honestly think this is like the first of a few things we're going to hear about.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the landscape we're talking about, not this time next year. Well, no, about this time next year. I think the stuff we're talking about is going to be just, we're not going to be having the same conversation at all.
Yeah. And
we may like it just as much, but it'll be an entirely different set of pronouns.
I am surprisingly
proper nouns.
Like I am in a position where I feel
both.
At this juncture, I feel sad that Arrow's leaving, but I also am relieved because I was like, oh God, there's a Batwoman coming, and we're just gonna keep piling on.
Oh yeah, no, I don't think you're gonna be relieved about that at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's gonna change, but I don't think it's necessarily going to condense. I mean it might, it really might, but the CW has also said, like Leibowitz has said a couple times, that he likes having that style of programming, and I think it's making him money, so he's happy with that.
Mm-hmm.
He may condense it a little bit, but not too much.
I've said this before. I wouldn't mind if they cut it. If they just really did start cutting him down to 10, 13 episodes.
I mean, yeah, that'd be fine. 10, 13 episodes of like year-round content instead of 5, 6 different shows that all have 22 episodes. Yeah, mm-hmm. I could dig that. I could dig that process. Like the way
I would
Titans
say 16,
is, the way oh yeah,
Black Lightning still seems like it's a bit much.
Yeah, it can be. But over on DC Universe, the way they're doing it, was it 10 to 13 episodes? We'll call it, because we're not sure.
Yeah.
And then doing it year round. Yeah, it's pretty cool format. I found myself looking forward to the universe stuff every single week.
Yeah.
Like I thought to myself earlier today, there's only 2 more days till Doom Patrol. That's fantastic. And I'm in it. I was like genuinely excited to think, oh man, I've gotten through most of the hump here. A couple more days and I get to watch another Doom Patrol.
Yeah, isn't that weird?
Yeah.
What a fun show that is too.
It really is. Delightful.
Loving the hell out of it, yeah.
Anyway, I think things are going to get a lot weirder before we finish this little news cycle.
Mm-hmm. Buckle up, guys. Who knows what's about to happen?
It's gonna change, possibly for the better. But I do think, is it Pedowitz or Leibowitz? I think it's one of those two. I think Pedowitz. I think I said Leibowitz earlier. Anyway, Pedowitz. I think he likes this little programming block. So, man, don't take off your seatbelt there, Dave. I think we got some stuff in front of us.
You think?
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, I think you're right. All right. Back to the past, guys.
Bye.
So anyway, moving over to television, Legends of Tomorrow, Jess McCallan is returning as Ava Sharp in season 5 of Legends of Tomorrow as a series regular. So that's cool. I like her character. Krypton season 2 has wrapped filming.
Oh, cool. How was Krypton season 1?
It started a little slow, and then became really freaking good.
Cool. I thought it was a cool idea. I was excited about it.
Yeah, you should check it out.
I'll try.
Luke Calto says that shooting on season 2 is complete. And he says, Krypton fans, get ready for something special. I don't know what that means, but I'm excited about it. I know they're bringing in Lobo, and he looks badass.
Cool. Yeah, I heard that Lobo was coming in, and that's cool.
All right, well, that's all the news I've got.
Nice.
That's like the most excited you've been about anything I've said.
I didn't know how much we'd had, and I know we had dug down on. You told me you had like 11 stories or something, and I kept diverting us to talk about things, and I realized I was like, maybe I should stop diverting so much.
Yes, you diverted enough that some of that will wind up on a Patreon episode, I imagine.
All right. Just can't wait for my cut.
That's not how it works.
Truth. Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, man. Thanks for coming in and filling in for Jason. If you want to hear some of those conversations or that conversation or whatever I wind up doing with it, patreon.com/DC on screen. We've also, we've got merch up. I'll throw up a link in the show notes, or you can go to DCOnScreen.com and click on shop.
Buy my merch. Buy my merch.
A critic reference?
A critic reference. Hey, you guys, you should listen to the Marvel Cinematic Universe podcast and the Star Trek Universe podcast. And most importantly of all, you should listen to my music, MatthewCarrollMusic.com. Yeah. Or Spotify or Apple Music. Just open your app right now. This episode's over. Open your app on Spotify, Apple, Google, Amazon. Search for Matthew Carroll. Don't you want to know what kind of music this nerd makes?
Yeah, I'll tell you what kind. In the middle of the album, he stops and tells you about how much he didn't like Batman v Superman.
Yeah. I like to throw that in wherever I can.
Track number 5 is called My Problems with the Suicide Squad. All right, guys. We'll see you next week. Until then, keep some DC on your screen. And let's go to the next bit that I have cut out, that I've erased now. So I'm just going to have to go by memory, I guess, because I'm such a smart person.
What'd you erase?
Oh, like my entire prep. Like the prep that I put together for everything.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought you had said you'd done.
Yep. That's what I did. That's what I did, Jason.
Oh.
Our opening narration was from Dan Jurgens' The History of the DC Universe, Part 3 of 10, as featured in DC 52, Week 4. It was performed by me, David C. Robertson. Intro music by Jason Goss and Michael Shackelford. Michael's band, Future Elevators, could be found on Spotify or future-elevators.com. Our introduction was performed by Effie Oppelders of the fantastic podcast Stealing the Remote, which lives on SoundCloud. It can also be found on iTunes and Stitcher. We are proudly in partnership with TV Time, TV show calendar and social media site that lets you keep track of what you're watching, what your friends are watching, and where you all left off. DC On Screen is a maladjusted production. Visit maladjusted.tv for more from me and Jason, including sketch comedy, an improvised web series, vlogs, parodies, and more.